or what was the biggest influence on your faith? Your friend Heather. Who was the biggest influence on your faith? Your grandmother. Awesome. Let's see. Liam. Who's the biggest influence on your faith? A friend? All right. Who's the biggest influence on your faith? Jesus. All right. Lots of good answers. I heard friends. I heard grandmother, I think. Grandfather. You know, I think today is Grandparents' Day. And we celebrate the witness that you have. Certainly, there's many witnesses. I remember my grand-mère and grand-père. My mother was French-Canadian. Her name was Marie-Germaine Jabet Lise Labelle Davis. And it was Wilfred and Marianne Labelle. But I remember them, they didn't have a car. They would just walk from their house, kind of like my Highland Square house. They could walk everywhere. They'd just walk to church every day. I didn't understand what was going on because I would go with them to Mass. It was in French, and I didn't understand French, but I knew what was going on, and I knew that they had a strong faith, and that made a big impression on me. Grandparents, do not underestimate the influence that you have on your children, grandchildren. Every kid needs 5 solid people in their life to succeed. And you are part of that circle of love. You are part of that circle of love. It was just a few weeks ago, I think it was not this Mass, or maybe it was, but there was a testimony from a young woman who just graduated from St. Vincent St. Mary High School. She had come into the church at Easter through our OCIA, or Order of Christian Initiation for Adults program. She said it was her friends that, you know, kind of got her interested and helped her make that decision. But then she said, when I come to this church, it's those old people that are here. If they still have faith after all those years, it's got to be true. I said, amen to that. I never heard it that way. So it's encouraging when I see older folks here. So anyways, family is very important. And grandparents especially important. So that gets to our scriptures. All right, a little bit challenging, and I'm going to start easier. The one from wisdom, that first one we heard, talked about difference between God's wisdom and the wisdom of the world. Our worldly way of looking at things, we make plans, but they're unsure. When we're younger, we have expectations, but they don't always turn out. They're unstable. And then it says later in there about this body that is burdensome. Doesn't always work the way we want it to. But where does true value come from? It's the wisdom of God. It's the wisdom of God. God shows us of true value, and when we follow him, he sets our path straight. So now we come to the gospel. And Jesus says, you must hate your father and mother, brother and sister, mother, daughter, and even yourself. And I'm like, what the heck, Jesus? What's that all about? I thought you were love and compassion. So, we were doing a little bit of Bible study on Luke recently, and we learned that terminology, hate, is not an emotional hate. It's actually a Semitic idiom or a Jewish expression that means to love more than. It doesn't mean what we think of when we say hate. It means love more than. So I found this Bible, you know, and that translation in our lectionary and in the, usually the New American Bible, which a lot of us have, is more of a word-for-word translation. It's more literal. Some translations are what we call dynamic, and they try to put it in our words. So the good news, I found this. I was looking around, 1980s. I remember being in high school having one of these. It's kind of like an easy read Bible, and it has these pictures and figures in it that, I don't know, some of you might remember. I actually remember really liking it because I could understand it. But it says in Luke 14, that same passage, translating it a little differently. Once, when large crowds of people were going along with Jesus, he turned to them and said, "Whoever comes to me cannot be my disciple unless he loves me more than he loves his father and his mother, his wife and his sister, his brothers and his sisters, and himself as well." Loves me more than. That's the truth. We do need to place God, we need to place Jesus at the center of our lives. But from that, the promise is also in the scriptures that we will have brothers and sisters. We're here together and friends and community when we enter fully into following Jesus. So I mentioned the one witness from earlier, the high school lady. Today I want to present a couple of witnesses from two other people that went through our OCIA program to follow Jesus. So if you give me a moment and pray for this technology that it works. I've been having a little bit of issues here.
I'm going to sit down so I can watch.
This is hopeful. Good morning, Brian. This is Deacon Andy. Good to see you.
Good morning. How you doing this fine day?
Good, good. Hey, Brian, thanks for coming in and telling us a little bit more about your experience with OCIA, or the Order of Christian Initiation for Adults. What happened with that?
Well, I was invited to church by a friend, and the more I came, I really liked the people and Father. The OCI program gave me the opportunity to be a member of the church and part of this community.
How might this have changed your relationship with Jesus?
I do know him a lot better. I do feel I'm more part of him through this. Mm-hmm. When things in life happen, I thank God, Jesus, a lot more than I have in the past. Well, my daughters are also Catholic, and they were very proud to see their father up there.
Aww.
Yes. I'm still continuing this journey. Still a lot more to learn, and I always can't wait for the next day.
So what was it like for you going through the OCIA classes?
It was very warm and welcoming, and I felt very comfortable being here. I felt comfortable in asking all my questions.
We had lots of questions.
Yeah, lots of questions. And it was also a way for me to feel like a small niche of like belonging to this church. I felt like I had just a small group of people that I could relate to. Well, my faith journey, I've never been, organized religion was never a big thing in my life, but as I've gotten older and have looked back and said, you know, Jesus has really gotten me through a lot of tough times. Mm-hmm. And I always had that faith in my heart. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this has been a very welcoming, wonderful church. I look forward to coming here on Sundays, and I meet somebody new almost every week. Yeah. If you're interested and wondering how can I become a member of the Catholic Church, OCIA is where you begin.
All right, and I want to thank Brian and Renee, who actually I think are here today, smiling back to the sides. Their witnesses show that, the life of following the Lord is full, and it's a place where we do gain those brothers and sisters. And I want to make an invitation to anyone here. If you are interested in becoming Catholic or want to learn more about it, or you just want to grow in your faith as a Catholic and understand it better, OCIA is a place to do it. And I want to mention that we have these white cards at the end of the pews. If you're interested, you could fill it out, put your contact information, and just put it in the collection basket, and we'll get it, and I'll be in touch with you. Also, this weekend with our Friendship Weekend, over next door, we have the opportunity, if you haven't joined the parish, you can register over there. Also, if something's changed, like your address or your phone number, you can get that updated so that we can keep in touch with you and kind of keep you up to date on what's happening. Anyways, thank you all. Thank you, grandparents. Thank you, family of faith, for your witness, your love, your community that you bring, especially the grandparents, to all the young people here. Thank you, and God bless you.